In this video, I wanted to draw a portrait that was a bit more realistic than my previous portrait. If you want to know more about the grid method, make sure you watch my previous video where I go more in depth on how to use the grid in order to draw more accurate facial features. Now, there are a few things you can do in order to draw a more realistic portrait. First, you have to start with a more detailed photo, preferably one that contains clear features and has strong lighting. Second, try using a sketchbook that has a smoother surface, that way the shading is more consistent. Third, and I think this one is the most crucial one, using a brush to help blend the pencil strokes into a smoother, more consistent shading. I use a very soft watercolor brush, nothing fancy. I got it at an art store for around $2. Now you can use a cotton piece, a Q-tip, or a blending stop to achieve similar results. However, I prefer the brush over those methods for more refined, detailed, and less obvious blending. The brush provides you with better control because you can hold it like a pencil, and the soft bristles are less likely to create smudges. This allows you to continue shading on top of the blended area. Make sure, however, you don't put a lot of pressure on the pencil strokes before blending. Otherwise, the brush will not be able to blend all of the strokes properly. What you can do to achieve softer pencil shading, try holding the pencil at the back. That way you will be less likely to put a lot of pressure on it. However, when drawing details like I'm doing right here, in that case you can use a piece of paper where you can place your hand in order to avoid any smudging. What you notice here is that I continue going over this drawing, putting more and more shading, more and more details, and that is very normal. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on those shadings, so you want to do a gradual build-up of those shadings. Put a little bit shading, go over it with a brush, put some more shading, go over it with a brush, until you get the correct darkness that you want for the shading. And this process could take quite a bit of time, and that's okay. This drawing in particular took me about almost twice, probably more than twice the time that it took me to do my previous drawing, where I had less details to work with. Now, here and there I am using the eraser to go back and erase any mistakes or any parts that I feel I went too dark, or where I think that the shading doesn't quite match the original photo. And when you do that, make sure you don't erase too much of the area, because it will be much more challenging to put back the shading. So you gotta be careful, especially when you're drawing a detailed portrait like this. Now here I wanted to show you the final result compared to the previous portrait in order to see the difference between the blending with the brush and shading without any blending. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave any comments with any suggestions for this video or any future videos. Thank you. Have a good one.